Warm greetings from the High 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Thursday, July 9th, 2020. Sure many of you are thinking, Queen, you were kind of heated there. Yes, I was in the previous video, and I'm going to try to keep my composure for the next said information. If you need verification for the storyline, please log on to Fox News. Derek Chauvin told George Floyd it takes a lot of oxygen to talk when he repeatedly said he couldn't breathe. Transcripts. Stop talking, stop yelling. It takes a heck of a lot of oxygen to talk. George Floyd said I can't breathe more than 20 times during the May 25th arrest that led to his death, but the Minneapolis police officer who was kneeling on his neck responded by saying, it takes a heck of a lot of oxygen to talk, according to transcripts of body camera video recordings released Wednesday. You're going to kill me, man, Floyd said, according to a transcript of former Minneapolis police officer Thomas Lane's body camera. Lane was one of the three officers at the scene with former officer Derek Chauvin on May 25th, when Chauvin restrained Floyd during arrest by putting his knee on his neck for nearly 9 minutes. Then stop talking, stop yelling. It takes a heck of a lot of oxygen to talk, Chauvin said to Floyd. The transcripts were made public Wednesday as part of Lane's request to have the case against him dismissed. Lane's attorney, Earl Gray, said in a memorandum that there isn't probable cause to charge his client based on all of the evidence and the law. Gray wrote that it isn't fair or reasonable for Lane to stand trial, and he is exonerated by the evidence. Lane was a rookie officer who trusted Chauvin's lead during the arrest and the decision to restrain Floyd after he started acting erratically and tried to hurt himself. Gray said. He added that Lane suggested twice that Floyd should be rolled onto his side while being restrained, but Chauvin refused. Lane had no basis to believe Chauvin was wrong in making that decision, Gray wrote. Floyd also pleaded not to be put in a squad car because he was claustrophobic, the transcript said. Gray wrote Floyd was hitting his face on the glass in the squad and began to bleed from his mouth, and the officers planned to restrain him so he couldn't move and hurt himself anymore. At other times, Floyd appeared cooperative, according to the transcripts. Lane said Floyd had foam at his mouth and determined he was on something. Floyd reportedly said he was scared and had been playing basketball. As officers tried to get Floyd in the police car, he said he couldn't breathe and told officers, I want to lay on the ground, the transcript showed. Gray has also submitted Lane's actual body camera footage, but it hasn't been made public yet. Prosecutors plan to oppose the motion to dismiss Lane's case, according to an attorney general spokesperson. Chauvin is charged with second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter. Lane and the other two former officers, Jay Queen and Tu Tail, are charged with aiding and abetting both second-degree murder and manslaughter. Lane was holding Floyd's legs at the time. Queen was at Floyd's midsection, and Tu was watching nearby bystanders. All four were fired. So Lane was holding Floyd's legs. How about that? Interesting. And, of course, there is said commentary video in this piece of all four officers by Mr. Floyd. I'm a little bit beside myself, so I'm sorry I'm taking so long to read this. Gray included a transcript of Lane's interview with state investigators and police department training materials on restraint hose. Oh, God, I'm just angry today. He said prosecutors need to prove Lane was knowingly involved in a crime to be charged with aiding and abetting. The decision to restrain Floyd was reasonably justified, he wrote, based on Floyd's actions up to this point. The officers had no idea what he would do next, hurt himself, hurt the officers, flee, or anything else, but he was not cooperating. Lane told investigators it felt like it maybe could have been handled differently, or we should be reassessing what we're doing. Queen said he couldn't find a pulse after he was repeatedly urged by bystanders. The transcript said, huh? Chauvin answered. When Floyd was put into the ambulance, Lane performed CPR, according to the transcript. He told investigators Chauvin wasn't his training officer, but he had gone to him for advice. Chauvin had reportedly trained Queen. I'm really starting to throw up listening at this. So Lane is now saying he performed CPR. Okay. A message left with an attorney for Floyd's family wasn't immediately returned to the Associated Press. This article was written by Fox News staff. Fox is the source for this said information. I wasn't even going to really comment. I wasn't going to comment at all. But now reading the said information, I am just to the point of vomiting while reading this, because first of all, this is bullshit. Well, excuse me for cursing, but I'm in a bad place right now. I'm in a very volatile place, and I hate to even admit that on camera, but I am. Because you have to be very careful of the words you use, period, social media, whatever. But I am beside myself right now. Personal things going on with myself, and just looking at what's going on in the world and reading this BS right here. The fact that someone is having to tell Chauvin to turn him on his side. He's the lead investigator, blah, blah, blah. I'm taking his lead. It's BS. Somebody could have stepped in to help Mr. Floyd. The fact that Lane is saying he gave him CPR inside the van, the ambulance. I don't have any proof of that. So show us proof on a body cam camera that you gave him CPR. And what fool is going to give him CPR inside of the ambulance? Outside on the ground is where he should have gotten CPR. But as I told many of you in a previous video, if you look correctly at the footage of Two-Tail in the way, blocking everything, you can see when there is no more movement from Mr. Floyd, he is escorted by law officials onto a gurney, and they had on tan-colored clothes. They were not civilians, nor were they EMT staff. Are you following what I'm saying to you? So he looked dead, and he was thrown on a gurney like trash, like a rag doll. And now you want me to believe, Mr. Lane, that you gave him CPR inside of an ambulance. So that proves the point of what I just said about the guys in the tan outfits picking up Mr. Floyd. Those people who put him on the gurney were not EMT. So why are you, Lane, a police officer, alleging that you gave George Floyd CPR? So you all have to listen to the details, because you see, sometimes in the details, the truth is revealed. And I don't need 12 members to tell me neither. Floyd was put on the gurney, and other law officials put him onto the gurney and into the ambulance, which leads me to believe that there was no EMT staff. You just had somebody driving the damn ambulance. Quit playing. And this BS about you pumped on him for an hour at the hospital, well, I don't know about that either, because I wasn't there. And the fact that any of you would trust Chauvin, you are stupid and dumb as hell. And the fact that Chauvin is telling Mr. Floyd that it takes more oxygen to talk and yell is bullshit too. That proves to me that you were taunting a dying man. Okay? The fact that you took him out of the car. Well, when did a civilian / suspect tell the police what they want? I'll wait. Are y'all hearing me correctly? When does a suspect get the high-ups on the cops and say, I want out of here. I'm uncomfortable. I want out the back seat of this police car. So he was beating his head. So you say. He was bleeding from the mouth. So you say. So you took him out of the car, and he ended up on the ground with a knee to his neck. Am I following you correctly, Mr. Chauvin? That's the defense you're going to use. So what defense are you going to use when they ask your dumb ass, while your knee stayed on that man's neck for almost 9 minutes. And they have footage of you talking junk to a dying man. And then the man lies limp with no movement and no conversation. I'll wait. Yeah, see, you might be able to spin that BS with some other dodo bird, but the queen ain't dumb. And my mom ain't raised no dumb kids. And I put that on paper. You had no business taking him out of the car. And frankly, did you ever get him in the car? Do we have live footage of that? Because it seems to me you all play hopscotch with Mr. Floyd. From him being in the car, taking the other two, putting them on the side of a building, separating them from Mr. Floyd. Floyd is standing on a curb or a sidewalk. He's then escorted across the street to another vehicle. Then you say you tried to put him in there and he was disruptive inside of the vehicle. Now you're telling me you took him out of the vehicle. You put him down on the ground because he wanted to be down on the ground because he couldn't breathe, because you say he was foaming at the mouth. But at that point, while he's foaming allegedly because he wants to lie on the ground because you think he's high on something, you didn't say, hey, man, we better call 911 because he doesn't look well. You see, as I just stated, you have to be very careful of the lies and tales that you spin, because what you have really done is told on yourself. So now you're saying you didn't call an ambulance for a man who appeared to be sick or in physical distress. Are y'all hearing the queen? Oh, yes. I take notes very well. No dodo bird here. So now we've gone from 3 people in a car, one who actually passed the $20 bill. Yeah, the queen's saying it. Allegedly, Mr. Floyd didn't pass the $20 bill, but he's the only one roughed up getting out of the car. You following that? To go across the street to get allegedly another car, to then they say he wanted out, let him out, throw him on the ground because he don't look well, he ain't feeling good, he foaming at the mouth, and then he gets a knee to the neck and then dies almost 9 minutes later. Did I get that right? Did I get that right? But I trusted Chauvin. He trained me. I trusted him to do right and take the lead. 2-0 was guilty as hell. That's why he was trying to block the view of Chauvin and Mr. Floyd down on that ground. Ain't nobody stupid. And you other dodo birds were dumb to go along because you should have aided Mr. Floyd. And that was a cold white boy to tell that black man, you need to just be quiet. You could breathe better. Well, guess what? He could be breathing right now had you not left your knee on his neck. Had you all thoroughly discussed the situation when you first approached him at the car and realized he wasn't the one that passed the $20 fake bill that has now gone on record to be a bill that was passed by the other parties that was in his car and in the store with him. So you see, everything could have been disputed on the street and never made it to the ground, then to the ambulance, and then to the hospital, and then to the cemetery. Stay woke out there. Stay woke out there. I was in a foul mood today. And what is so sad about being in a foul mood is that it has a jump off, which gets you there. And I was in a good mood when I woke up, went out, took care of my business, was happy. And then, of course, personal things, not really nothing major, but just something that shouldn't have happened, you know, pertaining to where I live. Something that was supposed to be taken care of wasn't. And the fact that I had to go and double back to take care of the issue, it's like, you know, hey, I don't want to be in this place today. I'm in a good mood today. But then I've had to calm myself down Try to stay calm because I have to check myself because I don't want to be in that place, you see. I don't want to be in a bitter place. I don't want to be angry every day over nonsense. I don't want to have to talk crazy or foul to somebody that acts like they don't give a damn and don't know how to hold a decent conversation and comprehend English. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be angry about this BS that's going on in the streets, dealing with these police and these white people who are talking crazy and junk to us, crying about Confederate statues, defaming the Black Lives Matter murals that have been put up or written in the street. Why are you doing that? How's that bothering you? You just won't give up, will you? You just won't throw in the towel. But I'm all right with that because I got other things to worry about. I realize also today, besides wanting to be in a better place, a better spot, that I got work to do myself. Physical work, mental work, goals I want to achieve. And foolishness ain't one of them. Mr. Floyd is deceased from actual buffoonery, bias, profiling, and willful intent murder. There are people who are dead from being sick, ill. People incarcerated. Some by their choice. The rest, perception. But nonetheless, not the best place to be. So I think about all these things. To be dead, to be sick. You understand what I'm saying? To be stressed out over nonsense. When does it end? I am tired. I learned recently that somebody I know personally only has 3 months to live. So, what problems do I have? Do you understand what I'm saying? What problems do I have? So I'm going to tell myself that today. Despite all the hate, the racism, the buffoonery, people talking crazy to you, people acting ignorant, people don't like you, mad at you, people you don't like, whatever the situation is, your living situation, you want more out of life, you want out of jail, you want out of incarceration, you want to feel better, you want to do better, you got dreams, you got goals. Try living because somebody is in worse shape than you, than me. And I had to check myself today because I was really moody today. Pissed off, quite frankly. Tired of bullshit. Personal and things that I don't have control over. And after talking to somebody this evening, he knows who he is. Mr. Hakeem. I guess that's why I'm tearful. I know I could be in a worse place. And like my friend, she's an elderly lady, who has been given only a few months to live and is dying of cancer. What problems do I have? I don't have any. I didn't mean to get emotional, but sometimes we have to check ourselves. And I know sometimes God puts things on us to show us that despite what you're feeling today, there's somebody worse off than you. And there's somebody wishing they was in your place, in your spot. Even though that spot don't feel good to you, that spot you don't want to be in. That spot ain't good enough for you. So that's my message today. Is that somebody is not well, somebody is no longer here, somebody's in a place they can't get out of, somebody is gone and they're not coming back. And so after I've told you, explained to you this article about Mr. Floyd and what was said to him on that fateful night of May 25th, tell me now, Black lives don't matter. I beg to differ. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. Thanks for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans.